Hi, everyone. Welcome to DevRunner. I'm Paul, and this is Subscriber Spotlight, where I have conversations with inspiring runners to motivate you on your running journey. My guest today is likely familiar to most of my viewers already. He's a positive force in the YouTube running community for years now, and I can't tell you how thankful I am for all the encouragement and advice that he's provided me. Without any further ado, I'm proud to welcome Chris from That Running Guide to the channel. Thank you, sir. I can't tell you again just what a pleasure it is to have you aboard.
No, well, thank you for having me on your channel. We've been waiting for this one for some time. I think we had it in the pipeline for a good month or so, or was it 2 months?
Yeah, it's been a little while, but I'm so absolutely happy that we finally get the opportunity to sit down together. Yeah, just to get started, Chris, I just want to ask you, and don't mind me for a moment here. I was hoping that you could give everybody just a short bio, tell them who you are, where you're from, anything that you want to share up front.
Yeah, no worries. Well, as you mentioned, I'm Chris, run a channel called That Running Guy. I live in the UK in Surrey. I'm 47, club runner. Started YouTube because obviously I wanted to share my kind of running journey and experience. So I do kind of weekly training vlogs, try to be honest about my feelings, whether it be running or family related, do race vlogs, a few reviews. I'm a bit much of a cheapskate to buy the latest trainer. I always buy last season's, but that's just me. I'm not going to delve too much into the my YouTube channel and stuff like that, because I know there's some questions that you wanted to ask. Yeah, but no, it's just an honor to be on your channel. As I say, that I've followed your journey, and we all have our own, goals and stuff like that. But performance-wise, you're way up there, and someone that I, inspire to be as quick as you and as fast as you, because we're all on our different journeys on running. But it's just about finding that right kind of training that works for us, and I think I'm still on that journey.
Yeah, I think everyone is. I still consider myself just, first of all, let me say thank you so much for all the kudos there. But sir, you are an amazing runner in your own right, and what I really appreciate about you, on top of all of the help that you've provided me and all the encouragement and advice that you've given to me over the years, or the year and a half that I've been on YouTube.
Yeah.
Is your ability to communicate and share the knowledge and the wisdom that you have as a runner, because you do it very, very well. And I think that's why your channel just continues to explode. What can I say? I'm so thankful to you personally. And, anybody who's watching this, if you don't already know who Chris is, please just pause this for a second, get over to his channel and get subscribed, because, nobody's going to help you more than Chris on your running journey.
Well, the way I look at it is that I don't like things that are overcomplicated, and some of the training plans and the way that some people are overly positive, and I just trying to keep it as real as possible, as simple as possible, so that someone can come along and hasn't run before, and what's threshold pace, or what shall I be training out of my easy runs, or do I need to get a heart rate monitor? Just all these simple things that they can just kind of blow your mind. You can get so complicated, and you don't know what you're doing. So as a new runner, whether you're a new runner, experienced runner, I just try different training programs, and just try to get them over as, I suppose, as easy as possible, because I don't understand off this stuff. And I think that all of us are on a running journey, and it's just about showing that journey, also taking into account, what's happening in the background, whether it be family, difficulties, and just being honest. I think people just like honesty rather than someone who's trying to sprinkle something that's not, I might lose subscribers because I'm too honest. I might get told off by my wife for sharing too much information, but that's just me. It is the way I am. And we all have, we all have our goals and targets and stuff like that. But I think it's difficult for me because of my background as running as a as a teenager, and then coming back as a masters runner.
Gotcha. So let me take that as an opportunity to ask you a little bit to talk a little bit about your athletic background. Like, go back and let me learn a little bit more about where you started as a runner, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, my dad was a runner, a very good runner, back in the 80s when athletics was at its height. So we had the likes of Ovett, Coe, Cram. Athletics was massive then. And my dad was 10K, half marathon. I think he was a 76 half, 3:52 marathon, London Marathon runner. I can't remember his 10K. I think it was something like 33 minutes and stuff like that. So back in the day when, when he was running them times on local races, he would probably finish in top 10. But nowadays you'd probably be win races with them sort of times. And so I was 10 years old, looked up to my dad, and I thought to myself, I want to do that. I want to be a runner. And so he entered my first race when I was 10, and it was called the QE2 Fun Run. Don't remember much about it, but I won that race. And also I've got a twin sister as well. And we had a race called the Marshalswick Mob Race. And this race was when we was at school. So we must have been about 11. And I remember the race. Me and my sister were the favourites, and I went off, and we got sent the wrong direction. I did, but I still managed to win the race, and my sister won the race as well. And I remember us both being in the paper as awesome. the magical twins and stuff. So my running journey started there. Become a social. Tuesday and a Thursday, we go to the track, train, have a slush puppy afterwards. Chat with friends while my dad was training. And so that became a kind of part of my social life. Got into 800 meters and 1500 and cross country. Run there until I was probably 17, 18. Okay. In that time, 800 I run in 1:59, 1500 4:07. And when I was about 13, I was the school's Southern Counties cross country champion. But then I got to 17, 18, work started, drinking, girls, running was just put to the side. We went in put to the side. It was just literally, I just wasn't interested. My parents were disappointed. The club were disappointed because they thought I was this athlete that was going to come through. Yeah. Then at 43, was sitting watching, I think it was some sort of European para. I don't know what they're called because you've got Paralympics, Para-European. So I was watching that, sitting there with my father-in-law at the time. And I thought, why am I not running? I'm 43, midlife crisis. I thought, I've still got it. So the next day, next day entered into a 10K, went and bought some trainers, and then went for a run. Oh my God, I had the biggest shock of my life. In the back of their mind, you're this athlete. I'm still that. So I remember running off like a gazelle, and then I think my first 4 miles was 35 minutes or something like that, But I gave it all from the start and then slowly got into training for the half, and trained on my own for a little while, but kind of plateaued. I was doing that training where you would go out and you try and break your PB every run. Yeah. And yes, you do progress. And then I kind of plateaued. Ran my first half marathon in 42:15. Although in the back of my mind, I thought I could run it in 38.
I got you.
Because I've still got that. I think sometimes it's better not to have been a runner than to have been a rather competitive runner in the past. Because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, I should be good now. Yeah. Without sounding big-headed, if you've won the Southern Counties cross country, you expect that you're going to be that sort of level as an adult. No, you train a lot harder. I probably missed my boat. So joined a club and then got some sort of kind of training structure, but then was picking up a lot of Achilles injuries. So which turned out to be my trainers, because I was running in just New Balance. New Balance is 6 mil. I wear Nikes now, they're 10 mil. And because I was going through 3 months of running, 6 weeks out, 3 months of running, 6 weeks out. And it was just a constant pattern. So now I only wear Nikes. My Achilles problems are a thing of the past. And so then I got to a year and a half. So a year and a half ago, I set up that running guy, but I did own a channel before that. So I switched over the channel. So my channel was called Just a Car Guy. And I used to upload car videos, as in go to the Festival of Speed, little fixes here and there, or if my phone needed fixing. And I was earning a little bit of money from YouTube. And I had 1,040 subscribers. And I was watching the likes of Ben Parks, Kafuzi, Seth James Damore. I think Seth had 15,000 subscribers when I was sitting watching in the car at lunchtime.
Yeah.
And I thought I could do this. There's not that many older kind of YouTubers out there, and I thought maybe there's a market, for me. So I went and bought a GoPro, uploaded a video, and then I've kind of fallen in love with the video inside.
Gotcha.
And also the kind of running side is the YouTube keeps my running going, if that makes any sense. So I'm accountable to YouTube now, and it kind of helps motivate me. So that's how I got into running. Yes, I had a massive gap, and running is a lot harder now, and I have to train a lot harder, because as a teenager, I was training 3 days a week, 2 days at the track, maybe a 10-mile run at the weekend, and that was it.
Gotcha.
Nowadays, it's about finding that, as I said to you off camera, it's about finding a balance that works for you. It's all well and good you telling me what to do and my telling you what to do, but we're all different. We're all different shapes and sizes, and I'm still on that transition stage. I'm trying the new Jack Daniels at the moment, which seems to the actual numbers on there are scarily accurate. I can't believe
it's amazing. It's amazing. That book is like a running Bible. If you
literally, I went out on a 5K. So I did a 5K. I'm coming back from a hamstring injury, which I went to the track last night. My hamstring's hurting a bit today, so I'm hoping that's just going to be a tight hamstring. I can get back out tomorrow. So I did my local 5K in 1847, and so I did a 2K time trial at the track last night. And I went onto the Jack Daniels calculator and I put in my times, and then I typed in 2K, and the time was exactly the same as what I actually run, a 6:58, and it said I'd run it in 6:58. How? It doesn't know me.
No, I know exactly what you're speaking of, Chris, because every time I go out to the track, I run my 800 meters and I make sure that I can hit 2:45 or better on those 800s, because then that not just Jack Daniels, but Bart Yasso, those Yasso 800s. If I can run a 2:45 800 meters, supposedly I can run a 2:45 marathon. So that's always what I'm
the only thing that's a bit grey on every one of these plans and these races is the marathon. Because the marathon, you have to put a hell of a lot of training. Yes, I could probably run a 2:59 if I put in all that work, but at the moment, no, I couldn't.
Yeah. Oh, I'm with you. It's a big.
But no, I was blown away by how accurate it was.
Yeah. Jack Daniels is amazing. He's just the amount, smart guy, incredibly smart guy, but the amount of work he put into that book is just incredible.
Yeah, no, I've downloaded an app, just an app.
Literally, wow.
Literally type in my numbers, it tells me all my paces, and I'm like, wow, this is the new thing. Because one of my club mates put me onto it. He said, oh, your V dot is this, and I was like, what? What's he talking about? So I'm on the computer tapping away, and he's I'm trying to think how old he is. I don't want to obviously say he's older than he is. He's about 68, 69.
Wow.
He can run, last year he ran, or the year before, I can't remember because of the years are kind of blurring into each other. He ran sorry, my alarm was going off, reminding me I've got to speak to you. So he ran a 5K in 17:10.
Are you kidding me? Wow.
68. A 36:04 10K.
Oh, nice.
He ran I can't remember what he ran the 10 miler in, but he was a 94.6% on the ratio.
For the future, man. Wow.
Yeah. So he tells me about VDOT. I listen.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I've got a bit off topic because that's probably what I
No,
do
no,
a
no,
lot.
no.
When I'm trying my videos, I start here and end up over here because I
It's
think
all part
sometimes
of the fun, though.
you just let your mind flow, and that's how it works, because it's just natural then, isn't it? Because you go down one rabbit hole and then you come out another one and stuff. So yeah,
Exactly.
so that's the answer to your question, is how I started running.
Gotcha. Okay. You know, it's funny because I did not realize just how much we have in common as far as the way life and running kind of happened. Because
Yeah,
I was not nearly as talented as you in my younger days. The only running I did when I was young was when I was 13 or 14 years old. I ran ninth grade cross country.
yeah,
And I did it for one season, and it was not for me. And then there was like
yeah,
nothing until I was 42 years old, and that's when I picked it up. So
yeah,
I'm kind of 10 years into this running journey now, and like you were saying, I'm kind of thankful that I don't have a lot to look back on from my younger days to compare
yeah.
myself to these days, because like everything amazes me about running now because it's so fresh. It's a brand new experience for
Yeah,
me.
and obviously you probably look back and think, what if I would have run then?
Exactly.
And I think that just comes down to love. So I used to run because my parents kind of got me into it, and what I liked was the winning. I didn't love it.
Yeah,
So because I was winning, I did it. But now I do it because I love it, and
I
it's
got you.
become, it's part of your life now. And then when you don't run, you just become this grumpy old, you know, it just ruins you. It's like, you get into an argument at home. It's like, go out for a run.
Exactly. Always come back in a better mood. But,
Yeah, but I think that was even as a teenager, it would just release stress. It was just
yeah,
amazing. You just go for a run, and just give everything, and then you don't have any worries because you can't breathe, you can't talk, you're knackered.
yeah.
You don't even have time to think, do you? When you're kind of really pushing it, you just concentrate. You're in that moment.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly. It's like a Zen thing. You're dealing with what's happening now. You're not
yeah,
worried about the future or the past. So, um,
no,
Chris, I want to ask you because you've done some amazing things in the last little while, and you've shared it all on your channel. But
yeah,
I'm hoping that you can talk a little bit about the highlights of your running career, and I'm not necessarily talking about
yeah,
PRs, PBs. I'm just talking about what has the most meaning to you, the races or even the training that
yeah,
you've found the most value in.
yeah. Because it was really weird when you sent the question over. You kind of you pencil it down and you think to yourself, yeah, that's going to be my answer. The obvious one. The Southern Counties cross country jumping and I still remember that race, that running round, and it was almost like the finish disappeared. I wasn't even knackered, and it was almost like we took a wrong turn, or I don't know. It just one of the, and then they hand you the first and stuff. But there was a few cross countries where I finished first and I was handed fourth, where other people had taken the shortcut.
Oh
So,
wow.
but yeah, no. I suppose to me, London. I suppose London was always a dream of mine since I was 10.
Yeah.
My dad had run in London. I would get up in the morning, that theme tune would come on, and it was, get goosebumps and kind of shivers. Um, when they did it, when it wasn't mass participation, that was ruined. That one, it didn't have the same atmosphere with crowds and stuff.
Mhm.
And so when I run London this year, I thought to myself, I had it all planned, how I was going to run it. I had my times. I had it even worked out, that I was going to be running X pace, because that worked well in training. I hadn't done the mileage, because of my hamstring injury. I only been training
Mhm.
for 10 weeks. And the gun all went out the window, because there was that little seed in the back of my mind that said, if you're going to do London, you're going to run a sub-3. And that, it was just there. So it kind of took off. And I was doing some stuff to YouTube and kind of filming away, and then the miles went past, and then 650, 630, 640, 640. And in training, you'd be puffing and broke at this speed. But I
Mhm.
was just like, I was like a superhero, the adrenaline, and it's the first race since we're back after COVID,
Mhm.
and the crowd were just amazing. And also, yes, it didn't go to plan. My hamstring tightened up, having to walk. But what it meant so much was that at mile 24, I saw my parents,
Oh
and I
wow.
imagined that the agony and the will of having to finish, because I was running for breast cancer now, running, raising money for charity.
Mhm.
And I saw them, and after I spoke to them, I started crying.
That's awesome.
It was just the emotion. It just, everything had just kind of built up to that point. And obviously then I finished, and it was a struggle. But I think that race, I think all my races, that medal, I've even still got my vest with the number on hanging up over there. And I'm thinking that a frame, yes, it wasn't the time I wanted. And yes, you want it on a plaque. Well, I did my best time. It was, went to plan. But unfortunately, these things don't happen. It was my first marathon. It was London. I was fortunate to obviously get a place and raise money for a fantastic charity.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose London, I'd say, was my greatest, I suppose we could say, achievement or outstanding memory that I can remember. I'm sure there's been other ones, but I've forgotten about those now.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, I really enjoyed that whole lead up and the vlog, the race vlog. I think you did such a wonderful job of capturing your experience. And it blew me away that you were actually filming as you went through the course. Like that was just awesome. And I'm glad that you saw that experience as a positive emotional journey, something that had meaning to you, and you didn't overly value your time, because that's not what a first marathon is about at all.
Yeah, well, when I finished the finish line, it was, no, I'm never running a marathon again. That was horrendous, not doing that. And next day I enter into London. It's mad. Everyone say you hit the wall and stuff. I didn't hit the wall, because I ended up having to run 12 miles. And you've got gels now that can get you past that. But from 22 miles onwards, it was horrendous. The last 400 meters, I had to walk 200. And honestly thought I was going to pass out. I think my sugar content must have gone down.
Yeah, I remember that.
But I think I'm not an ultra runner, so I can't run, stop. So as soon as I stop, my legs go, okay, we're stopping now. And then to run again, I run like a really 90-year-old man for about 30 seconds, and then I get going again. But then when I stop again, I have to do the same again.
Yeah.
But the amount of people I saw on the way with hamstring injuries that I run with people, and then they said, oh, mine's too bad, you just go. But I remember this one woman, a mile from the finish, she was in tears, walking, and I stopped and I said, come on, we can both do this. So I ran with her for about a quarter of a mile, and then she left me.
Oh, wow, she got her second wind.
She left me. So I was still walking, and she finished a couple of minutes ahead of me.
That's funny, it's like, hey, thanks.
Yeah, so, but I did see her at the finish line. She happened to be next to the letter I was going to, because you have to arrange to meet people at a letter, and she happened to be there. She said, oh, thank you so much for helping. But the chance of me, but I suppose it was, it's like sliding doors, isn't it? I believe in sliding doors and stuff like that, and that.
Yeah, it was meant to be.
Yeah, so so that would be my memory. It's still, my hamstring still isn't fully recovered. It is still, but what us runners like.
Oh yeah, it's amazing what a marathon takes out of you. It's like, I mean, I've attempted to, after finishing a marathon, sort of scheduling a shorter race for like a month later, and your legs still aren't back. It just takes a long time.
Yeah, well, my dad said 26 days, isn't it? A day for every mile.
Yeah. I mean, and that's if you really take care to be ready.
Yeah, after my first 50K ultra, when we done that for charity, that, I think that broke me. That, with having the COVID jab a week later, that ruined my running, absolutely destroyed it for, I think, a good 3 months. So I don't know if it was a combination of going from 18 miles to 32, and then my body was so low that when I had the jab took a hold of me, and then I was talking on film. I remember talking on camera, and my breathing was still, 3 months later, was still kind of, it wasn't right. And you'd say to people, oh, I think it's this, and they said, no, it's your ultra. And they're like, okay, well, maybe it's the ultra. I don't know.
I've never run one yet, but that's exactly what scares me about them. It just seems like it would be such a drain.
Yeah, no. Well, I went into it kind of so blasé. I was 2 laps around a hilly course, and I thought to myself, I could do this. So I was just laughing, joking. you know, because you look at your times and you compare them to other ultra runners, and you're like, it's going to be easy. They're going to, they're eating, they're walking, they're going a 9-minute mile in. But no, I paid the price for messing around and running up hills and stuff. I paid the price at about 24 miles.
Wow. Yeah.
And it was the biggest slog ever. And it doesn't help that the person you're with, their watch ticks over as though they've done the 50K 1,000 meters before yours. And you just got to keep on running and running and running. But yeah, I'm pleased to get it done, but never again.
Really? That's interesting.
That's a never. That's never.
Wow.
I think a marathon is far enough.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a different kind of challenge, I imagine. But yeah, I know I'm eventually going to at least attempt an ultra, which will probably be a 50K as my first one, just to kind of dip my toes. But yeah, I know it's going to be a completely different thing. But
yeah,
we'll get there eventually. But just to kind of try, I'm going to steer it back to you. I don't want to talk about myself here.
No, that's all right.
I'm just kind of curious to learn a little bit more. You alluded to it earlier, talking about how you switched sort of topics on YouTube, and how your running channel kind of keeps you accountable as a runner. But I'm hoping you can talk a little bit more about the motivation. You know, any other motivations or benefits that you find from being a YouTuber?
Yeah. Well, being a YouTuber, the community, obviously the kind of community side to it, you know, and helping other YouTubers. When I did the Pay It Forward series and trying to promote people who were, you know, struggling at the start, because people who don't have a YouTube channel, they call it the YouTube grind. And you will go through stages where you will start doing it, you will pick up loads of subscribers, and then you stop. And you just stay there for a little while, and then you pick up loads more, and you just stop. And there's no rhyme or reason, but normally you get to 100, 500, 1,000, then it might stop for a while, and you just kind of think to yourself, you know, why am I doing this? And I think with YouTube, you've got to be doing it for the right reasons. If you're thinking you're going to earn loads of money, you're not going to earn loads of money, especially in the UK, because our ad revenue is 60% of yours or something stupid like that. So
I didn't even realize that. Wow.
Yeah, because in the US they earn, I think $9, where we would earn $5 or $4. So depending where you are in the world, and the kind of YouTube is, I say that the community, it takes a while, but if you know, you can build up that kind of community where, you know, people will comment on your videos, and if you can link that to your Strava, then you're kind of bringing it all together. And it's just really nice when you kind of, someone comments to say that the video is helping them, or you kind of motivating them, because we put the content out hoping to, you know, help someone along their journey, or maybe this might help. Yes, I'd be lying if I wouldn't love it to be my job. And the only reason that you get to that is that I'm nearing the 5,000. You think, well, if I get 5,000, then I can get to 10,000. I can get 10,000, then I can get to 20,000. Then I get 50. Then it can become an income. Yeah. You could live quite a basic life and earn from that. But at the moment, for me, it's just keeping me accountable to running. I enjoy doing the video side, and just enjoy the community, really. I think without YouTube, I may have given up running, you know, because I think sometimes you have, especially during COVID, what was there? You know, there wasn't races. You know, what are you actually training for? You're just training, running around by yourself, running around, getting all your Strava PBs. Then when you actually go in a race and run the full distance, you're shocked that you're not actually running. They're not your PBs, you know. and one thing that I have lost is that kind of race, kind of trying to think what it's called. So you know, when you're in a 5K and you have to dig deep mentally when you're racing, I think I've lost that because of the kind of COVID stuff and your own, the kind of mental toughness. Yeah. So
that's interesting. Now, do you still feel that way after you know, having experienced London? Like,
no, I still lost it. I was done my last 5K and I got to halfway, and I don't remember having that feeling of me saying, I can't do this, I need to stop. I can't run any further. I didn't have that feeling because obviously I wasn't pushing myself hard enough. So that's how I need to get back. And I know I'm going off topic thing because that's what I do.
No. I think this is great because this comes back. I like what you said about how the community keeps you motivated, even.
Yeah, it just keeps you accountable because you are, like, I have a 10K coming up, and it's also adjusting your goals. Like, I put that I want to do sub 38, but then when you look at the v.calculate, calculate, which people can look online at Jack Daniels, type in v. and you see these charts, you put in your times, scroll along, and it tells you what you can run this distance. So in my head, you know, yes, I would like to run this time, but then you can go back on the next video and say, look, realistically, yes, I would like to run it, but realistically, I'm here. Because there's no point in turning up at the start line and gunning it for a time that is not going to happen.
Yeah, you'll just burn.
You know, it's difficult. Is that your dog in the background, or have you got a tail?
Yeah, well, yeah, both. Yeah, that's my big old chocolate lab pup.
Yes, yeah. So I think that YouTube is good because it's kind of the likes of YouTube and Strava and stuff like that. You just keep yourself accountable, and it is a journey, and people can relate. That you don't have to, you know, hit your targets, or you don't have to do your times, and you can adjust your training, and you don't have to do it this way, you don't have to that way. You don't have to just do math training. You could do math training 80-20. You could just, you know, whatever works for you. I just have to have a speed session in the week.
Yeah.
Without a speed session, you know, it's just boring. You know, you just running slow all the time is just boring, and having to concentrate on your heart, I just find that so boring that I've got to run in that zone 2. I know the purpose of zone 2, and I will do run in zone 2 on my heart rate, but I have to have a speed session in there.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
Because, you know, in an ideal world, we'd all train in zone 3 and we'd all love it. You know, we'd all be running around because that's the happy zone, you know, where you're free and you're kind of running around. But yeah, so I'm still on that journey of learning how to train, and people can come along for the ride. You know, it might work for them, might not. So
yeah, no, I love that about your channel. Exactly. I mean, I remember when you were doing a lot of math stuff, and
yeah,
you know, I love how free you were just to kind of start exploring other stuff. You know, and
I called it Math Max. So Math Max, it is 80-20 cross between math training.
Yeah.
and then I put together these elaborate thumbnails that I thought, yes, this is it. This is the video that's going to blow up my channel. I literally had a picture of me cut out with some sort of robot android chasing me through this land, going, or it might have been a Mad Max car on that one. So I kind of did a Mad Max thumbnail.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I like to play around with the thumbnails as well and try and make them as interesting as possible.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I tend to fall into a trap where I just kind of like, oh, I'll crank it out and it'll look the same as the last one. I kind of got to get out of that. But cool, Chris. I want to ask you a little bit about, you know, current state. What motivates you now? And what are your future goals specific to running?
Yeah. Well, my next goal is a 10K. That's on the 5th of December, because after London, you kind of have that you kind of think, well, am I a marathon runner? You know, I haven't put the endurance, you know, I consider myself to come from a faster background, an 800-meter runner, 1500-meter runner, never put in the endurance. Yes, I was doing 50-mile weeks for a long period of time, but doing 10-mile runs times 5 doesn't build you the endurance. You've got to have that hour and a half, that 2-hour run once a week, and then build your mileage that way. And I've only just obviously realized that, but then that comes down into time. So I thought to myself, 10K, right? So 5K is really tough for a race, and it's one of the hardest events. It reminds me of like 1500, that kind of middle lap. And so I've always wanted to go sub 38, but when I've looked at my where I am at the moment with my hamstring and stuff, I'm probably 38.50-ish. That's where I am at the moment. And so every race I've gone into, I've gone off too fast, blown up within the first couple of miles. And so on my last park run, I went off at the pace that I had in my mind, and I took people on the second lap, which is what I want to do. So going into this 10K, I'm not going to put myself right at the front, look like I'm going to win the race, and then get swallowed up by everyone's going off like a, I think my first 10K, everyone went off at 4:30 mile pace, and it just, you look at your watch and you're like, the guy won it, run it in 30 minutes, and it's kind of like, nah. So I'm just going to have a pace in mind. I've got to be more restrained and go off at what that VDOT calculator is telling me for the first couple of miles, and then just see how I can perform. Because there's nothing worse than blowing yourself up over the first, 2 miles and then having to run for 4 miles, hanging on.
I know.
And I've also entered into a half marathon. So
good for you.
I think that 10K into half marathon, the training should be able to kind of transition if I'm doing that kind of long run. So I'm hoping to get into the 125s.
Awesome.
Because I think on the calculator it said I should run a 126.15. So I'm going to try this method and see if it is actually correct. But my hamstring, after last night's session, I got a video coming out, and I said in the video, I'm going to the track tonight, but I don't like doing Tuesdays because I normally injure myself. And so I went to the track last night, and my hamstring's a little bit tight now, because anything under 400 meters, I tend to push myself a bit too far, and my body can't keep up with it. Yeah. So, and I try and keep up with the 20-year-olds. We were doing 35, 36s. So I was coasting the bends and then accelerating on the straights.
Gotcha.
And I felt great for 6, but then on the 6th one, I thought, oh, my hamstring's getting a bit tight. And then I went out for a run today, and I could barely run. So I'm just hoping it's just the tight hamstring. But my issue is my right glute. So my right glute is the issue that caused me a tight hamstring, which I got because I wore the Next Percent. So the Next Percent caused me my hamstring injury, because I slightly heel strike and rotate. So I hit the outside of my left foot, say, and then I transition onto the inside of my foot. So I go out to in, so I kind of pivot. But on the Next Percent, this inside is actually higher than the outside. So every time I was hitting the ground, I was hitting this side when I should be hitting this side, which caused my knee and my glute to be an imbalance. And that caused my hamstring problems. So I sent them back, and obviously they're not meant for me. So they're not meant for heel strikers. Because we can all run and not heel strike, but when you're fatigued, you will run how you overstride to try and maintain your pace, and you will, your natural form will come out.
Yeah, exactly.
We can all run around at 7-minute mile in, and our form will be fantastic. But as soon as the fatigue sets in, our hips drop, we we overstride because we think, if I do my longer stride, then I'm going to cover more ground and stuff. But it doesn't work like that, does it?
See, this is exactly the kind of stuff that constantly comes through on your channel and in your videos. It's like that the honesty that you were talking about, that you always like to be honest and share the good and the bad.
Them shoes went from magic shoes to I'm sending them shoes back. They're horrible.
That's funny. I've got a friend who just literally ordered a pair, so it's going to be interesting to compare his notes with yours about how he likes them.
Yeah, it's just, I think with shoes is that they're okay over 5K, but when you start pushing them up to the half marathon, it's a different type of running, style altogether.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And so you just need to find shoes that work for you. But as I don't tend to buy new shoes. I always buy last season's.
Yeah, I do the vast majority of the time myself.
Fantastic deals. Why pay 110 for a pair of shoe when I can buy them for £50, and they're still the same shoe. They just got a different upper, or it's, especially with Nike, they're pretty much the same shoe. It's got a different tongue or different laces in it, but
Yeah, I was kind of the same way. I was right there on the bleeding edge with the new stuff from Saucony when the Endorphin line came out, just because I wanted a super shoe, and that seemed like it was kind of my style. But now that I've experienced that, I'm going to fall back a year and just kind of
because the thing is with YouTube, if you want to grow your channel, then you have to invest. So you have to buy the latest shoe. You do a review, you get loads of reviews. You don't get loads of subscribers, but then you become into their feeds, and then they get your videos, and that's how you grow.
Yep.
But that costs money, and it's like I've got enough shoes as it is. I can't afford to to spend £140 every month.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. It'd be nice, but
Yeah.
I have to pick and choose what I'm going to get especially if it's something, this year's model. But
Yeah, unless you get big enough and then you're sent shoes for free. Now we're talking. Because I've been fortunate that I've got to the stage where I've had Insta360 go-to camera for free, headphones, aftershock headphones, vests, running vests and stuff like that. So I've been fortunate there, and I'm just honest. If a product's good, I'll shout about it. If it's not very good, then I'll tell people it's not very good. It's because some of these companies want to see your video before you send it out.
Really, I didn't realize that, because a lot of people who do those reviews, they will specifically say nobody previewed, my video beforehand. But I didn't realize that there were companies that were actually.
There are a couple, that want to see that video before that goes out, which I think is a bit out of, out of order. Or some people be negative about the product, that, they washed it in the washing machine. Well, a lot of our running stuff, put it in the washing machine and it breaks, it deteriorates. Unfortunately, you just can't wash it. Like my latest video with the re-waterproofing my running jacket, because I just bought a spray and then you just re-waterproof it. You get the water spray, because every time you put that in the washing machine, it's losing its.
Of course,
it's getting washed off. So it's like most of our running stuff. You just don't wash it until someone says that you smell.
Yeah, exactly. I do the same thing with my running vests all the time. It's kind of like, okay, I can go another round before I wash it.
Yeah, because what's the point? You're only going to make it messy anyway. It's like the caps and stuff. Oh my god, they get so sweaty and smelly. It's like they have to go in the washing machine now.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, Chris, I'm going to switch gears here with you a little bit. I'm going to ask you to share something that your followers might not already know about you, something out of left field, maybe.
Yeah, well, I kind of thought about this one. I thought I might have mentioned it on a video ages and ages ago. So I've got a twin sister. So my twin sister used to run. She ran up until she was 15, 16.
Okay.
So she was at 13 was number 2 in England for 800 meters.
Wow.
And she ran at 8:13. And to this day, every time that I mention that I do this, do that, she tells me she used to beat Paula Radcliffe.
It's just mind blowing.
So she used to beat her in cross country all the time. So that's her claim to fame, is that she used to beat Paula Radcliffe. Obviously, there was a massive difference between, as they grew.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's always rubbed that in, and she used to beat me on cross countries as well, because I used to have to wear my football boots, and running cross countries in the mud in football boots is not not good at all. But my sister was the opposite to me and my brother, where she would train really hard, and obviously still be very successful. But me and my brother were lazy. We would just turn up at the track, with our spikes, do an odd session here, and we'd win races and stuff. But
that's amazing.
If only I'd have continued. That is one regret. One regret in my life is that. But what if? There's no point in putting what ifs now.
That's what I was about to say.
Gone.
Exactly.
25 years later, I can't think. What if?
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you 100%, because I can't drive myself crazy with those same questions myself. I just kind of be the best 52-year-old I can be, and next year I'll be the best 53-year-old I can be. So
but it definitely, when you hear of people, that there's a guy that's 60 running a 2:30 marathon, isn't there?
Just blows my mind.
And it kind of makes you think that you can go forward and as long as you can stay injury free and you can hit these times, and you can achieve. And the likes of, I mentioned about Bob, who's nearly 70 and running those sort of times. It doesn't matter what shape you are, because in my head I always think, because I'm 6'1", he's about 6'2", he's like a beanpole. You're what, 5'6"?
I'm 5'7". Yeah, I'm
5'7". Yeah. So you're the ideal height. because runners tend to be, there's an ideal height, isn't there, for a runner? I think they said 5'6", 5'7", or something like that. Because obviously the taller you are, you tend to get just longer bodies, don't you? With men, the legs stay the same length, you just get higher. So so that's how I would love to run for my country as I get older, but it's just a question of keep on going. I need to get to my 50 bracket before I'm into the next bracket. But then it's the realization that you could run for your country, but you've still got to pay for your ticket to get there, and no one cares. You're not going to get any sponsorship. You're not going to get a pat on the back. You're still putting the bin out the next day.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what drives me crazy, on our level, just kind of like guys out there having fun.
Yeah.
What you said is very true, but what I find so disconcerting is that even the best in the world, like runners at the elite level do not get our entire sport does not get the accolades it deserves. I mean, it's the toughest sport out there, and it's just not enough people know the names.
Yeah, it's not as big as it used to be. When I mentioned about the 80s and the Cohen Ovett, and that was athletics at its pinnacle, and now you've got Jakob Ingebrigtsen's bringing in the youngsters, and he's going to smash numerous world records. I'm sure he's going to get the 1500 world record.
Yeah.
So it's just unfortunate the likes of, you call it soccer, the likes of American football, baseball, takes away those athletes because there's a bigger money to be earned playing American football. Yeah, you might earn yourself $1 million, but if you're a quick sprinter, you're going to be broken in a season, and then you're back. You probably bought your massive mansion and you're back getting a job. So I suppose it's the same here with football. That these footballers are earning, I don't know how much they're earning now, £500,000 a week. Ronaldo's and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Why would you want to be a runner when you could have all your sports cars and everything? But the thing is, with running, it is just you, and you're accountable to yourself. The only event is cross country. So cross country is we're coming into the cross country season, and you are a team. You are not an individual. It's about where the team comes, and that's where there was a guy. He finished 10 minutes behind everyone else, and everyone stayed and clapped him, and then they went, rather than, because there's all different abilities. Like you might think you're a good runner when you're in your 40s, but you put yourself in a cross country. There's people, at the start, you're like 200 meters behind, and they run off at 5-minute mile in. You got no chance.
Exactly.
But, cross countries are tough. That was the biggest shock to my system. My last cross country.
Yeah, I mean, I have very dim memories of cross country from when I was young, but I do remember not enjoying it. That's probably why I have got
some negative comments that I wouldn't say negative, that I put on some of the American cross country courses. I'm not saying they're all the same, but the ones you see advertised on a golf course, mown lawn, and it's literally flat. They might as well be on the track. And I put comments, and they just come over to the UK and run up Parliament Hill, where you have to actually tape your shoes on. I suppose it depends on what you've got available. A space-wise green. Have you got a wood that's boggy and you can send people up in the woods, or have you just got a golf course that people run around?
Yeah, I don't know, but I did my cross country stuff in Canada, so I can't speak for races down here. But Chris, I want to ask you a sort of a big picture question here.
Yeah.
How has running changed your life for the better?
Well, I'd say probably the biggest is probably my mental health. I would say that especially at the moment with my daughter not being well. So to cut a long story short, my daughter out of the blue just started having seizures, then having fits. And now it's kind of, we're not sure if it was diabetes, if it was epilepsy, but it's in the middle. So we call it depilepsy. We made up a new one. So she's had all the tests and stuff, and at the moment we're down to her blood sugars going either really high or really low, and so we're on a diet to maintain that. So she's like a diabetic, but not diabetic. So if it goes too low, then she has a seizure. So we're at kind of that stage. So it's been very stressful for me and my wife and my daughter. And running for me has, I suppose, just kept me sane. Without running, it's been there when I was a teenager. You'd have, you know, a tough day, or, you know, your small problems as a teenager, you know, and you just go for a run and it would kind of clear the mind. So I would say kind of mental and physical, you know. Physical, yes, as in, yes, I feel fitter now than I ever have been. My watch, you know, my Garmin watch says that I'm equivalent to a 20-year-old, which we all know is lies. You know, my Garmin watch is my biggest fan. I've probably got the fittest watch in the world.
That's awesome.
But I think for most of the time, you just need to remind yourself why you run. You run because you love it. You run because, you know, it's good for your mental health, rather than, it's very easy to get caught up in, you know, like me in the past, I should be this athlete because that's what I was back then. Mm-hmm. You know, yes, I might still be that athlete, or I might have missed the boat. Don't compare yourself to Joe Bloggs, you know, running past you. Wait a minute, I look like an athlete, and then someone comes past you who doesn't look like an athlete, and you're kind of thinking, well, how's that even possible? So I suppose, yeah, just don't compare yourself to others, and just enjoy it, you know. Yeah. And we're fortunate that we can share it on YouTube, and we can share it with an amazing community. You know, the running community for me is just, so people are so welcoming, so friendly. The amount of live streams that I've been on, and you just chat, you know what I mean? It's like me in the real world. I do what I can to get that conversation to running, because I haven't got anything else to talk about. You know, like you've obviously got music you can kind of talk about, so you've got kind of music and you're running. I'm like just getting people to talk about running, and so runners around runners. It's just an amazing community. Everyone's so supportive.
I absolutely agree with you. Yeah,
kind of family, and it's, you know, it's just you don't have to rely on anyone else.
Yeah,
and it's just, you just need a pair of trainers, or sorry, quite a few pairs of trainers.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just looking up there because that's where they all are. This is the whole line of them.
Yeah, I've got mine all herded into a closet finally.
Yeah, so that's what I would say for that question. It is number one's probably mental health, I'd say, because I think without running, I'd be pulling my hair out, and I would just be this kind of angry person, you know, that's like, why me? You know, why did it happen to me, and stuff like that. But, you know, these things are sent to test us, and if you've got a release, then, you know, you're fortunate. Whether it be, as you say, you know, playing a guitar, whether it be going for a run, whether it be going on your spinning bike. I think we all need to have our own happy place, whether it's meditation, because running is, for me, is like meditation.
Yeah,
isn't
I'm
it?
with you, 100%. And
you
before we move on, Chris, I just want to take the opportunity to make sure that you realize, just, you know, just to put it plainly, like, all the best wishes to you and your family, and I hope things get worked out with your daughter's health, and yeah, I think I love your answer as far as the way running ties into that as a stress relief. But yeah, all best wishes to you and your family.
No, I appreciate that. But because there almost becomes two types of running. You've got the running that you go out and you think about all your day-to-day stuff, and then you've got your runs where you just switch off. And it's amazing the difference, how much the pace drops off when you concentrate on your running and not running along. What am I going to put on my Strava for the title? That's literally what it becomes. You know, I go have a run, I think, what am I going to call this video? What's the next video? And then you kind of run along, and then you kind of like, it's like sometimes when you're driving your car and you drive past that junction.
Oh yeah,
your mind is over there. But then that's the same with running, yeah. But you know, I appreciate that. Things are obviously improving. It's been stressful, but you know, it is what it is. But my daughter's been amazing. She's so kind of positive, and
I'm glad to hear that.
I don't know how. I don't know. I'll be curled up in the corner somewhere.
No, I was going to say, you set a great example, because you're very strong, you're very positive, and you're very just a good guy, and I appreciate this whole thing. I appreciate everything you've done, not just for me, but for the running community. I mean, you said it yourself, the running community is a very positive place. And I think
Yeah,
you're a major piece of that. I think you have helped to steer that direction in a big way for everybody who has joined in, because I think our
yeah,
running community on YouTube especially has grown by leaps and bounds. So many people have jumped in the last,
yeah.
I've only been around a year and a half myself. And, you were immediately like one of the people that I looked to for how to do it the right way. So,
Yeah,
just to,
but it's really weird because I obviously look to, I look at your videos, look at other people's, because me as an individual, I'm probably the same as you. It's like I want to do it like Ben Parks. If you ever watch Ben Parks videos,
oh,
or I want to do it
yeah,
like, and but then again, he might watch other videos and think that he wants to do it like them,
yeah.
because we don't see ourselves as everyone else sees ourselves. We just see, I'm not happy with that on the video. I'm not happy with this. Oh, I didn't, I pulled a funny face there and stuff like that. So I think we're all very critical, but once you put yourself out there, that you learn to live with your, the negative points. You might pull this face, you might and ah, you might go, and to start with, you get rid of that. But this is natural, isn't it? And you want to be kind of natural. Like sometimes we tend to go off of scripts, like you would have a card and then we become very kind of like robotic.
Yeah.
So all I do is just I like to get it in my mind, might have a few bullet points, but then I kind of just go off, you know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I'm trying to be that way myself. I think you've probably noticed, especially in my earlier days on YouTube, I was very,
Yeah.
very, very scared of straying too much from topic. And I think it was to the detriment of my channel. But, watching people like you doing it right and keeping it natural, I think is helped me grow as a person. And I know it's helped other people too.
It's quicker as well when you do it naturally, because then you don't have to edit all these another take.
Exactly. So, Chris, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You've just spent the last 5 minutes giving a ton of good advice for YouTubers, but I'm going to kind of put you on the spot to try to pick what you think is your favorite piece of advice for runners and YouTubers.
Well, runners, slow down. That is it. I've been told this numerous times, and I think to myself, they don't know what they're talking about. It doesn't apply to me, because if you start off running and you're not going to, you go around and you're trying to hit your PBs every time, every time you go for a run and you think you're Rocky, then you will improve. And then you just plateau. You just won't improve. You will probably get injured and you lose interest and you'd be demotivated. So get yourself a heart strap, get yourself a monitor, just so you know roughly what it feels like to run in your zones. If you don't want to run in your zones, get yourself on a VDOT calculator, and it'll tell you what you need to be running in on your slow runs. And it is difficult. To run slow is hard. I'd say harder than running faster.
Oh, I'm with you.
So stick with it. Your style will adapt, because I found the hardest point was my body would hurt, but now I adapted my style to kind of run slower. So I would say stick to the plan, stick to your paces, and just you have your fast stage. Your fast stage should be fast. Your easy days should be easy, and just have a basic structure. Long run on a weekend, hour and a half to 2 hours if you're up to that ability. Fast run in the middle of the week, 2 if possible, and then the rest easy. And that is literally just a plan. And all you're doing is just, can I do that with work? Can I do this? Have an easy day after a hard day, and then just do it from there. I'm quite fortunate that I have the time to do more, but whether my body can cope with it, that's a different story. YouTube advice would be just stick at it. It is a grind. It is a massive grind. As I said before, the numbers will come and then they just stop, and you just think to yourself, you think, well, because when I started, I was getting 400 subscribers a month at the start, at the very start. And now I'm lucky if I'm getting 150, 160. Yeah. It just slowed right down. And you kind of think to yourself, well, have I lost the enthusiasm? am I just taking the market that's for me? Have I changed the way that I'm doing stuff? And you kind of question, you kind of think, oh, maybe I'm not doing this right. No. And then you see new people come along that are picking up subscribers. They're picking up a 1,000 a week, and they've already disappeared. And it's like, you know, so it's supposed to be the same as running. Don't compare yourself to others. Mix it up a bit. Make sure that, you know, you're happy with what you're putting out, and just try and mix it up a bit, because obviously there's a right and there's a wrong, isn't there?
Yeah, of course.
And change your thumbnails. You know, have to play around with them, but keep them you, so everyone knows that thumbnail comes is you. Which yes, so YouTube is a difficult one, you know, and anyone watching this, just like the video, just put a comment on there. You know,
I love it.
Because you know, I heard one YouTuber, and he was sitting in his car and he was moaning and moaning. He said, "Oh, some people give me money every month, and these same people give me the same money every month because this is my livelihood." And then he turned around and said, "I don't understand why people are watching my videos and not giving me money. They should." And I was like, "What? What? You know, you know, yes, we earn from our ad revenue, and it's you know, it's a reasonable amount of money. You know, like I'm earning 140, 150 pounds a month. Yeah, and obviously different countries. If I was in the US, I'll probably be earning 300 pounds a month equivalent. So, but I don't get that many views compared to my number of subscribers. So it kind of, I'm getting, you know, I don't know, a percentage, and some people get higher percentages. But yeah, no, his view, I just couldn't work that out. And it's like, I don't put the videos out because I want people to kind of give me money. If they want to give me money, then fair enough, you know, they can. But just the little like, the little comment, help and just share that video so that more people can follow your channel and your channel to grow, because a lot of people fall by the wayside when they're on the verge of making it.
Yeah. I always think of Seth Demore is like the ultimate version of that story.
Yeah, he had 15,000 when I was watching him. Now he's up to 150, 200,000. You know, it's he just carried on. You know, but he has that kind of that kind of type of, you know, personality that you either like him or you hate him. You know, some people hate him. I know some people love him. So, yeah. But unfortunately, it's always going to become, when you get to that sort, it's going to become business. It's going to be about making money. You know, he's supporting his family. It's his job. Yeah. So you will see that transition between, you know, his early days to now. You know, he's probably plugging more shoes. He's probably plugging membership and stuff. So, you know, you just have to, I suppose, when you transition and it's your job, then, you know, you got to support an ever-growing family. But YouTube, yeah, anyone who wants to start YouTube, just get out there, put a video out there.
Just get started.
And just give it a try. I don't think it's ever too late. Everyone ever says, is it too late? You know, kind of start.
That's what everybody thinks until they jump in. And then it's like, as long as you're having fun, it's never too late. With anything in life, really.
And then you get to speak to people all around the world, you know, that I'm in England, you know, and it's just great to talk to people you'd probably never ever meet, you know, that you, and it is almost just like having a chat, isn't it? Like, you know, if I was to talk to a stranger that I'd never met that wasn't into running, then maybe that would be a bit, I'd be like, okay. Yeah, so that's my advice for beginners, whether it be YouTube or runners.
Cool. I appreciate that, Chris. I mean, you're so full of good advice and enthusiasm, and I know I've said it a bunch of times in this conversation, but I really truly mean it. You have no idea how much your channel and you as a person have meant to me, just to keep me going when I've kind of bottomed out as far as my motivation goes. So thank you for that. And again, everybody who's watching this, get over to that Running Guy channel and subscribe right now. You're not going to regret it. Chris is just the best. As far as I'm concerned, he's the best. So get over there. And if you want to know where you're going, all the links are below. But Chris, please talk about all the different places where people can find you on social media.
Yeah, well, obviously you mentioned YouTube. I'm also on Strava, that Running Guy. built up a massive kind of community on there as well, which is great because from a YouTube point of view, it's great to get people to look at your YouTube videos and stuff. Also on Instagram, got that. It's also called That Running Guy. On Facebook, called That Running Guy, or is it called Facebook? Is it called Meta? I don't know. I don't know what it's called. But my main platform is YouTube and Strava. I don't understand the likes of. I sort of understand, and Twitter as well. I'm on there as That Running Guy. I don't quite understand what I'm supposed to be doing on there. For me, it's more about pointing to YouTube. Does people really want to see a picture of me with how much mileage I've run in that day? But that's what people want to see. So I suppose each of the platforms to this out. But Strava, I say I love Strava. That's it's just where people can see your training, that you can see you're doing exactly what you say you're doing, and you can tie both together. But the advantage of obviously doing these kind of live streams is that you will speak to various YouTubers, and some of them will promote you. They will take from you, but then not give back, like the likes of me. That I will promote it on my Strava. I will put it out on a post. I might mention a video, because I think that like the Pay It Forward series, that there is a point where people should give back, because some people get to a certain point and they don't give back because they forget that they were here once.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I feel very lucky in that respect, Chris. Just to, I don't want to make this about me again, but I like the fact that I feel like I'm far enough along on my YouTube journey now where I'm starting to know more people in the community, and whether they're, at this point more successful than me, or the people who are just getting started. I love talking to everybody, because to me, it's not based on your subscriber count. Doesn't matter to me at all. It's are you interesting? Do you have a great story to tell? And that's why I want to talk to people, and that's my favorite part of this whole thing.
Yeah, and it's just the more people you get, the more you're spreading your journey and stuff. And I don't understand why some channels are bigger than other channels. I don't understand. It just comes down to, I suppose, just personality and the way you come across, which we all think we come across okay, or maybe we don't. It's just the way it is. But I think there's a channel for everyone.
Exactly.
And I think it's good that there is more older runners out there that are putting content out, because it's more about injury and staying injury free, and maybe we have a different perspective, than some of the youngsters that are out there that are obviously getting older now. Kafuzi, Seth, and Ben Parks, they're all getting on to 35, 40-ish. I don't know how old they are. They're all coming into that kind of, because obviously as an athlete you peak at 30, is it?
Depending on the distance. I always hear like 35 is kind of the peak for a marathon. So
I think there's a market for everyone out there, especially. But I was just thinking, could I see myself still doing YouTube when I'm 60 or 70? That old person running around with a GoPro. Oh yeah, I've got my Zimmer.
I think you're underselling yourself, sir. I think you're still going to be doing amazing things when you're 60 years old. So I hope you do keep going.
Well, we'll see. I can't see myself stopping running anytime soon.
I'm glad to hear that.
I suppose it all depends on whether my body lets me. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Exactly.
And maybe it was a blessing in disguise having then 25 years off, because if I'd been running for 25 years, would I still be running now?
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah, it's a great question. I tend to think that I would have burned out a long time ago if I had continued on from teenage years.
With the speed you run, I watched the start of your video, and then before you're 400, you're like, it was going in the back, and it's kind of like, and obviously you're following a strict, I'm going to do the reps at this particular pace within this second, because very easy. I do it most of the time on the track, which I know I shouldn't, is that the last set or the last two, I burn them. You know, I literally put my hammer down and see how fast I can go, which I know isn't great, but it's just, I don't know, it's just the competitive nature in me and wanting to, you know.
I'm the same way. Yeah. If my last one isn't the fastest one, then I'm tired. Is the way I look at it.
Yeah, but the last one, you've always got energy left to give it that kind of, because it is the last one, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, whatever happens, you can kind of gun that last one. But yeah, no, I just love the way you put the camera down and not worried that someone's going to run off with it.
No, I'm literally the only person there. Is the reason I can get away with that.
Yeah, no, because it is difficult when you can't have other people filming you. Yeah. People don't understand it is difficult. You know, yes, the cameras have become smaller. You can put them on your head, but you know, it's nice to have someone on a bike going around filming you, because or a drone, or you know, it just makes it a lot easier, and it probably makes it more visually better for the watcher as well.
Yeah, that's what drives me crazy. Yeah.
Well, we have to make the most of what we got, or when you've done your half marathon and the battery ran out. Yeah,
exactly. I even went out and bought the darn power bank, and it just didn't work.
I'd have been so annoyed. You know, I mean, if you know the pinnacle of the video showing that you actually run that particular time and the battery just died. So if anyone hasn't watched the video, it's when you're doing is it sub 80 half marathon?
Yeah.
And within a couple of laps to the end, your battery just went.
Oh yeah, you have no idea how many 4-letter words came out of my mouth in that interim period before the camera came back on.
That happened to me at London. London, I got to the start line, I was on 69%. I'd only done 2 videos. The GoPro is, them batteries are, sometimes they're okay, sometimes they're not. Yeah. They've got a life of their own. Sometimes they say 0 when they've got 100.
Yeah.
You just have to reset them or pull the battery out, put it back in, and then it kind of does it.
Oh yeah, that's my go-to. I'm constantly doing that with mine. Yeah, but at any rate, I don't want to badmouth GoPro because I wouldn't have a channel without them. So, sir, I want to thank you for being here. It's something I've wanted the opportunity to talk to you for a long time, for all the reasons I've already given. I think you are the best. So thank you for being here today. And
no, thank you for having me on. As I say, I'm sorry it took so long. As I say, I've been wanting to speak to you for so long, because you know, when I found out how old you was, you know, I thought, oh, this guy, he's probably younger than me. He's probably, you know, he's probably mid-40s. That's why he's running so quick. You know, I'm trying to figure out all these stuff, and then when you're running the times you're running, you know, it's inspiring for people, you know, to show that you can still run when you're older, and you can still get into running when you're younger. You don't have to. And you know, the amount of people that take up running later, and maybe they did have a talent, maybe they didn't, maybe this is their time, but you know, I have every confidence that you will run your 2:45.
Well, I appreciate that vote of confidence. I feel like I'm kind of on the bleeding edge of that being a possibility. We will see, but by no means is it going to be easy.
Yeah, anything, you know, to run a marathon, you know, even sub 3 at 52 is still an achievement, you know, and then you've got to deal with the blues afterwards. You're like, what now? What do I do now?
Yeah, exactly, and that's true for everybody.
Thank you so much for having me on your channel. As I say, I was looking forward to talking to you. We had a little chat before, obviously off air and stuff, and no, I've really enjoyed it. I say it's been really relaxing and just like having a chat with a mate. Well,
I appreciate that, because you know, the more I get to know you, the more I like you. So to hear those words from you is, you know, very encouraging, very inspirational, motivational for me. So thank you, sir. What can I say? We're halfway through the week here, so I can't even say enjoy the rest of your weekend like I usually do to people. But,
I know.
But enjoy the rest of your week, and you know, I'll be in touch as soon as this thing's get ready to go live. And thank you, Chris, so much.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a great night.